You just woke up in the dust of Jerusalem. The air smells like sweat, incense, and iron. And beside you, stumbling beneath the weight of rough wood, is a man they call Jesus. You just woke up in the shadow of the city walls. The sun is already warm, even though it's still morning. You're in Jerusalem, a stranger here, far from home, hoping for peace and prayer. You stretch. Dust clings to your arms. The streets smell of spices, dung, and stone. And today, like many others visiting for the Passover, you expect nothing more than crowds, temple bells, and maybe some time alone with your thoughts. But the crowd today isn't walking. They're standing, whispering, watching. A Roman trumpet sounds. And that's when you see him. A man, barely a man, now collapsing under the weight of a wooden cross. Blood mixes with dirt on his back. Thorns press into his forehead. And before you can look away, a soldier shouts. A hand grabs your arm. And everything changes. You, Cyrenian, carry it. You just woke up beside Jesus, but you didn't mean to. You were only here to visit. A stranger in a city full of strangers. Your name is Simon. You are from Cyrene, far across the sea, in the heat and hills of Libya. You came for the feast. You brought your sons. You brought your prayers. But not your strength, not for this. Now, the cross digs into your shoulder. It is heavier than you thought wood could be. Rough, splintered, still wet with the blood of the man stumbling beside you. He hasn't said a word. Not to the guards, not to the crowd, not to you. But his eyes, they are open, looking, seeing. Even through the sweat and the blood, you feel seen. The crowd spills into the narrow street like water from a broken jar. Vendors close their stalls. Children press behind their mothers. A woman clutches a cloth to her chest, weeping, whispering prayers. A man spits. Another one laughs. Some are silent. Some scream. Some just stare. You pass the butchers near the outer gate. The smell of lamb fat and coppery blood clings to your tongue. Roman soldiers bark orders in clipped Latin. One nudges Jesus in the ribs with the butt of his spear. He stumbles. Again, you flinch. The wood slips. The soldier glares at you. Keep walking. You shift the beam on your shoulder. You're stronger than him now. His feet are bare. His robe is torn. The whip marks still fresh across his back. And still, he says nothing. What is he thinking? You wonder. This man, this prisoner, this condemned, he looks not like a rebel nor a criminal, but like someone who has already forgiven everyone here. Forgiven the ones who beat him. Forgiven the ones who ran away. Forgiven even you for not speaking. You pass the water cellar. The man offers you a cup for coin. But when Jesus reaches for it with trembling fingers, the soldier knocks it away. The crowd murmurs. Some turn their heads. Others begin to follow. Not just to watch, but because something feels unfinished. You're breathing hard now. The hill rises before you. Golgotha, place of the skull. You have heard of this place. A dumping ground for bones and warnings. The kind of hill where dogs wander at night, searching for what the crows leave behind. And yet, you walk beside him. You, a stranger. You, a foreigner. You, chosen pulled from the crowd by chance, or not by chance at all. You glance at him again. He's swaying, steps unsteady, eyes half closed. His lips move, but not in pain. They form names, words, prayers. You want to speak, to say, who are you? To ask, why did they choose you? But something inside you knows you are not the one who needs to speak. You are the one who needs to carry. You pass the woman again. This time, she steps forward. She presses a cloth to his face, quickly, tenderly, before a guard yells and shoves her back. Jesus looks at her, and for a moment, the whole city goes quiet. Even the birds seem to hold their breath. Even the sky seems a shade darker. He turns to you. For the first time, really turns. His eyes meet yours. And all your thoughts collapse into silence. You are not a hero. You are not a disciple. You are not prepared. But you are here. And that, somehow, is enough. The wind changes. It picks up dust and carries it through your robe. You taste it in your mouth. Bitter, like ash. You're near the top now. Golgotha, the place where Romans display their warnings, where uprisings come to die, where justice, they say, is swift. But this does not feel like justice. The soldiers shove you. Enough. Let go. You hesitate. The beam is still on your shoulder, still heavy, still warm from his back and yours. Then he speaks, softly, a whisper meant only for you. Thank you. His voice is cracked, but clear. And you feel the weight lift, not just from your shoulder, but from your heart. You step back. The wood thuds onto the rock. And suddenly, you are no longer a part of it. Just another face in the crowd. There are two others. Men already nailed to their own wooden sentences. One screams, one sobs. They curse the guards. They beg the crowd. But Jesus is silent. They strip his robe, blood sticking to fabric. They roll him over like cargo. The nails glint in the morning light. You want to look away, but you don't. You owe him that much. The hammer rises, falls. The sound is not like wood. It is like stone breaking. The sky is still blue. The city still bustles below. But up here time thickens, like honey, like grief. They raise him, and the cross stands upright, a shadow stretching across the rocks. People murmur. Some laugh. A few cry. The woman with the cloth is there again, holding it to her chest like it's a child. A man, maybe a disciple, maybe a brother, stands frozen, fists clenched, lips white. Another woman sobs openly. You think she might be his mother. Her body sways like someone trying not to faint. And Jesus, he breathes, slowly, raggedly. His chest rises, falls. Each movement seems like it costs him the world. One of the criminals calls out, "If you are the Christ, save yourself, and us." But the other one, the quiet one, says only, "Remember me." And Jesus replies. His voice is weak but certain. "Today, you will be with me in paradise." You close your eyes, and when you open them again, the light has changed. The sky, it's wrong, too dim, too still. Birdsong has stopped. Even the wind holds its breath. The soldiers begin to look at each other. They do not speak. They feel it too. You feel it in your ribs. A kind of trembling, not fear. Something older, like the earth remembering something. Jesus looks up. "My Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do." A tear falls down your cheek. You don't remember crying. And then he says something to the woman, "Behold your son." And to the man beside her, "Behold your mother." The words are strange, but they fall like blessings. The sun disappears, not behind clouds, just gone, as though night has arrived at noon. You hear someone behind you whisper, "It's an omen." Another says, "The curtain in the temple has torn." You don't understand, but you feel it. The weight of something invisible but enormous, like history, is cracking open. Jesus gasps, and finally he says, "It is finished." Then louder, like from somewhere deep inside him, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And with that, his head falls. There is no scream, no sound from the sky, just silence. The kind of silence that feels holy. You don't know how long you stand there. The crowd begins to thin. The soldiers lower their spears. Some kneel. One whispers, "Surely, this man was the voice of God." You feel your legs trembling, your hands stained with dirt and blood. You carried the cross. You did not ask to, but you did. And now, you will never forget the weight of it. The hill begins to empty. One by one, sandals retreat on stone. Voices hush. Birds return, but you remain, still standing where the shadow of the cross touches your toes. Your shoulder aches where the beam once pressed. The pain is real, and yet it feels small now. The man is gone, but not gone. Something lingers. You can feel it, in the air, in your bones. A boy walks past you, holding his father's hand. The boy looks back at the crosses. Why do they do that? He asks. His father doesn't answer. He just pulls the boy gently along. You stay longer. You're not sure why. Maybe out of duty. Maybe because you're not ready to return to the city. Or maybe because something inside you cracked wide open on that hill. Later, you walk back through the narrow alleys. The city is loud again. The stalls have reopened. Someone is roasting chickpeas. Children play with spinning tops in the dust. It's strange how quickly the world moves on. You pass people debating. Some say the temple veil was torn. Others say an earthquake shook the ground. You hear someone claim that graves opened and the dead walked. You don't know what's true. You only know what you felt, and it is enough. You find your sons. They have been waiting. They don't ask why your hands are red. They don't ask where you've been. They only hold your fingers, as if they sense that the world has changed, and they want to make sure you're still real. You sleep that night with the windows open. The stars above Jerusalem feel too close, as if they are listening, as if they are waiting. In your dreams, you see his face again, not broken, not bleeding, but calm, at peace. That thousands of years later, people would whisper your name, Simon of Cyrene, the man who carried his cross. Not the priest, not the soldier, not even his closest friend. You, a traveler, a father, a man just passing through. And yet, it was you he walked beside. What you couldn't know then was this: that mothers would name their children after him, that empires would crumble and churches rise, that your simple act, carrying a burden for a stranger, would ripple across history like light through stained glass. Some say you became a follower. Some say your sons did too. They say their names, Alexander and Rufus, were whispered in the early churches as ones who knew someone who had touched the cross. And maybe you did. Maybe that weight never left your shoulder. Maybe each time you lifted your children, you remembered what it meant to lift something holy. Because here is the quiet truth. You were part of the story, not the beginning, not the end, but a thread woven right through the middle. And that is enough. The next morning, you wake before the birds. Your shoulder still aches, but not from pain, from memory. The city is quieter, not in sound, but in spirit, as if something has passed through and left a hush behind. You walk through the market. You see the same faces, the same figs stacked in baskets, the same dogs sleeping in the shade, but it's all different now. Because you are different now. You keep looking for him, in faces, in silence, in shadows. But he's gone. Or maybe he's not. At the city gate, a woman calls out. She's selling loaves, wrapped in linen. You buy two. One for your sons, one for a man who will not eat it. You glance up at Golgotha. The crosses still stand. Empty now. Only birds remain, and wind. But you feel the weight in your chest again. Not grief, not guilt. Something else. A kind of quiet honor. You never asked to be part of this story. You had plans. You had errands. And yet, for 2 hours, you walked beside God. You carried what he could not. And maybe that is the story. Not miracles, not crowns, but one man offering his shoulder to another. No questions, no speeches, just presence. Later, when your sons ask about that day, you won't know what to say. Not at first. So you'll sit down, you'll break the bread, and you'll begin. There was a man. They called him Jesus. I didn't know him, but I walked beside him once. And maybe, when your sons are old, they'll tell their children, and their children will tell theirs. And the story will grow, not because you were a hero, but because you were there, because you carried the cross, because you looked into the eyes of a dying man and saw life. The wind rises again. You close your eyes. You breathe. And for the first time in your life, you feel weightless. You just woke up beside Jesus Christ. And now, you are awake in a different way. Let it rest now. Let the city quiet. Let your thoughts soften. Sleep in the shadow of something eternal. Amen.